Hola chicos, these are your notes for the subjunctive, specifically how to form it. Okay, so after certain expressions in Spanish, it is necessary to use the present subjunctive. Right, parte A. So the subjunctive, it is not a tense. Okay, specifically, it's not a tense because it cannot exist on its own. Okay, it cannot exist by itself. Okay, now how do we form it? This process might sound familiar, right? The first step is to put the verb in the yo form. All right, the second step is to drop the o. All right, and the third and last step is to add the opposite endings. Okay, now let's look at the AR verbs. So we have es, hemos, es, en. Now, when you're conjugating and using the vosotros form, please make sure that you have the accent over the E. Okay, for ER and IR verbs, we have a, as, a, amos, ais, an. Okay, now be sure to, once again, include the accent over the A in ice. Alright, and yes, the yo form and el, a, and usted form share the same endings. Context would basically tell you who's completing the action. Now, when have we done this before? Well, we used it with commands, specifically the -2 commands, right? We use the yo form, drop the o, swap the endings. We're going to do it again to form the subjunctive. Now, just like with the negative commands, you have to watch out for spelling changes. Now, these changes exist in all of the verbs in the subjunctive. Okay, let's practice a few. All right, I'm going to go with the cargar and zar verbs. First, I'm going to use buscar. The yo form is busco. All right, and then we drop the o, and we'd swap the ending. So we'd use e, but that would be pronounced busé. So we have to make the change, right? And how do we make it sound like busque? Well, we add the QU. All right, and this change would happen in all forms. So in the two form, el, en, usted, nosotros, vosotros, and ellos, ellas, en, ustedes. Let's try the verb llegar. Okay, same process. Okay, the yo form is yo llego, so you drop the o and you swap your ending, adding that u to preserve that sound. So it's llegué. I'm sorry, llegue. Okay, the next verb is organizar. Right, it's a zar verb. So the yo form is organizo. Swap the o, right, in place for the opposite ending. But notice we changed the z to a c. Okay, the next verbs, we have GER verbs and GIR verbs. The yo form gets a change. The G goes to a J. Okay, so it wouldn't be protego, right? To preserve that H sound, that H sound, we change the G to a J. So it'd be protejo. And then you'd swap the ending, right? Since it's an ER verb, you'd add the A. Yo proteja. Now the next set of verbs is GUIR verbs. Okay, we just drop the U. So like seguir would be sigo as the yo form. You drop the O, you'd swap the ending. Right, so it'd be siga. Okay, and this change would happen once again through all of the forms. Let's scroll down. So we have some irregular verbs, right? These should start looking familiar because we've seen them before. All right, we have ser, ir, dar, estar, saber, naver. Okay, now let's review. All right, the first step would be to identify what these verbs mean, and then I'll give you the yo form, and then the change would continue throughout the entire conjugation. So the ser is to be, so the yo form is yo sea. Ir is to go, and the yo form is yo vaya. Okay, dar is to give, and the yo form is yo de. Now notice there's an accent. Accents will go on the yo form and the el, a, and usted form. Estar is also to be, and we use yo esté. Accent on the E, and notice accents on all forms except for nosotros. Saber is to know, right? And we have yo sepa. And we have haber, which means to have, which you've used before. And the yo form is yo haya. Okay, now I'm going to conjugate the verb to start just so you get to see all of the conjugations. Okay, in all the forms, seeing the accents. And there we have esté, estés, esté, estemos, estéis, estén. Excellent. Okay. Okay, chicos, please bring all questions or concerns to class, and we'll get more practice. Hasta luego.